What if one of the greatest photographers of the 20th century lived among us? A quiet, unassuming woman who worked as a nanny and never showed her work to anyone. What if her life's genius, a vast archive of over 150,000 negatives, was discovered by accident in a forgotten storage locker, destined for the dumpster? This isn't a movie plot. It's the true, mesmerizing story of Vivian Maier, a reclusive artist from Chicago whose incredible body of work has changed how we see street photography and the very nature of artistic legacy. Photographic Inspiration presents Meet the Master Series, Vivian Maier, the story of photography's greatest secret. We celebrate timeless photographic art, distinguishing it from transient trends. Our story begins in 2007 at a Chicago storage locker auction. A local historian and real estate agent named John Maloof buys a box filled with negatives for a mere $380. He was looking for historical images of Chicago, but what he found was something far more profound. As he began to scan the rolls of film, he realized these weren't just random snapshots. They were the work of a master. The compositions were immaculate. The moments captured were raw and honest. And the subjects were a living history of American urban life. Maloof was mesmerized. He posted some of the images to a blog, and within days, the world was suddenly asking, who was Vivian Maier?
The history of street photography is currently being rewritten.
Vivian Maier.
Vivian Maier.
Vivian Maier?
Her life, it turned out, was as enigmatic as her photographs. Born in New York in 1926 to a French mother, Maier spent part of her childhood in France before returning to the States. For over 40 years, she worked as a professional nanny, primarily for wealthy families in the Chicago North Shore suburbs. The family she worked for recalled a woman who was intensely private, eccentric, and often guarded. She had a keen intellect, an unshakable confidence in her opinions, and sometimes a fabricated French accent. She was, in the words of one person who knew her, a complete mystery woman. But her true passion was photography. She carried her camera everywhere, seamlessly integrating her art into her daily life. The children she nannied were often her companions, tagging along on her long walks through the city's neighborhoods. Her camera was her window to the world, a tool she used not just to see it, but to interpret it on her own terms. Maier's primary camera was a Rolleiflex twin-lens reflex. This was more than just a piece of equipment. It was an extension of her unique vision. Because she looked down into the waist-level viewfinder, people didn't see her raising a camera to her face, allowing her to capture remarkably candid, unobtrusive moments. This method of shooting gave her a powerful advantage as an invisible observer. As she herself said, if you really have something to say, better to be behind the camera than in front of it. The square format of the Rolleiflex also gave her compositions a classical, balanced feel. She didn't crop her images. Every detail was intentional. Maier's subjects were a mirror to society. She photographed the privileged and the poor, the powerful and the downtrodden, often with a raw intimacy that few photographers could match. She was drawn to those on the fringes, the homeless, the working class, and the forgotten. Her images capture moments of joy, struggle, humor, and pathos. They feel both intimate and universal. Her photographs of children are particularly striking. They are not sentimental, but rather honest and often melancholy portraits of innocence and its fleeting nature. With her Rolleiflex at waist level, she was often at eye level with the children, a perspective that lends her work a sense of genuine connection and vulnerability. What truly elevates Vivian Maier is how her work stands among the giants of her time. Her eye for a decisive moment has been compared to the precision of Henri Cartier-Bresson. Her bold, in-your-face portraits of urban life share a spirit with Robert Frank and Lisette Model. But there's a key difference. While photographers like Diane Arbus deliberately sought out their subjects to create unsettling psychological portraits, Maier's work was always a spontaneous, fleeting encounter. Her images feel like a silent conversation with the world around her, not a planned interrogation, a triumph in psychological study, but one without the explicit consent of the subject.
Perhaps her most revealing work is her collection of self-portraits. Maier rarely photographed herself directly. Instead, she captured her reflections in store windows, mirrors, or shiny surfaces. These images are fascinating. They show a woman who is both present in the world, yet forever hidden behind a glass pane, a perfect metaphor for her life. It's as if she wanted to see herself, but only from a distance, through the medium of her art. As you look at these reflections, you can almost hear her thinking about her place in the world. Is she an observer, a participant, or simply a fleeting ghost in the city's chaos? It's the ultimate expression of her private-public duality, a master of disguise who could only be found in the reflections she left behind. The discovery of her work sparked a worldwide phenomenon.
Vivian was my nanny.
She was our nanny.
The 2013 documentary, Finding Vivian Maier, co-directed by John Maloof, was nominated for an Academy Award and introduced her story to millions. Major exhibitions followed at prestigious museums, cementing her place in photographic history.
Sure, I wish I would have found those negatives instead of you.
She was an artist who spent her entire life hiding her genius. Did her genius belong to her alone or to the world? This question is at the heart of the counter-narrative put forth by author and professor Pamela Banos in her book Vivian Maier, A Photographer's Life and Afterlife. She contends that Maier, far from being a simple reclusive nanny, was a complex, intelligent artist who chose to keep her work private for reasons that are hers alone.
This perspective adds a crucial layer to the narrative. Was Maier a tragic figure or an artist who made a conscious decision about her legacy? The story of Vivian Maier is more than just a discovery narrative. It's a powerful reminder that art can exist for the sake of art, without the need for public validation or commercial success. Her photographs challenge us to look closer, to find the extraordinary in the ordinary, and to recognize that some of the greatest artists may be working among us in plain sight, with their genius hidden in a box, a drawer, or a quiet, private life. Her secret is now out, and thanks to her, we can all find a little more inspiration in the world around us. We celebrate timeless photographic art, distinguishing it from transient trends. Your support empowers us to continue this cultural and educational journey.